scheduled for Mr. Joshua Coleman on this matter while we wait for Noelle Johnson, the mother, to arrive from the jail for her initial disposition. May I have the names of our participants, please?
Lee Heiss, lawyer guardian ad litem.
Ms. Naja Thomas, counsel for the department. With me, I have Ms. Chelsea Grant, who is the CPS worker, and Ms. Brenda Burgess, who is the foster care worker. Ms. Grant, if you can say your name for the record, please.
Chelsea Grant for the department.
And Ms. Burgess.
Brenda Burgess for the department.
Michael McFarland representing mother who is not yet appeared.
And Mr. Coleman, would you give us your name for the record?
Joshua Coleman.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ariel Berger here on behalf of Father Joshua Coleman.
Thank you. As I understand it, Mr. Coleman is awaiting DNA testing. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor. It has been scheduled for July 19th. It was scheduled for, I believe, the week of June 17th, somewhere in that week, but it was scheduled to take place at the department, and that had to be re-referred given that Mr. Coleman is incarcerated. So that is what has caused the delay. But Ms. Burgess has spoke with Mr. Coleman, and I don't know if you want testimony on that point or if you would just like me to make a statement, but either way, we're not ready to move forward on Mr. Coleman at this time.
Is the DNA testing rescheduled?
Yes, for July 19th.
All right. Well, let's go to you, Ms. Berger. Is there anything else that you want to be heard on as it relates to your client or any questions for Ms. Burgess? We can swear her in if you need to. It sounds like we're just waiting for DNA testing for your client.
How do they plan to do that?
I'm sorry?
I just don't know how they plan to do it. Is someone going to go to the jail to test him?
Yes, Your Honor. The company that does the DNA testing does go to the jail.
Okay. I would just ask that it actually get done this time because in my notes from June 10th, it says that they can still do the DNA test while he's in jail. So I'm just confused as to why it didn't already happen because we knew that he was still in jail.
I'll be out of here before the 19th.
Oh, okay, Mr. Coleman, when is your next court hearing on the case that keeps you at the jail at the moment?
The 9th. Next Tuesday.
So your next court date is on the 9th, and what is that, if you know what it is?
Tuesday.
Like a pretrial or something, or what is it?
That is pretrial and probable cause.
Okay. Okay. Well, are you going to be able to keep up with him if he's not at the jail and be able to accommodate DNA testing at the office if he's not incarcerated?
Your Honor, so the referral that was put forth did indicate that he was in jail for some reason. When it was received, they did not schedule it that way. So then the department had to re-refer it. So we understand Ms. Berger's frustration on that point. We are aware of the hearing date. I believe Ms. Burgess has spoke with the probation officer, and it does not seem that Mr. Coleman would be released at that time. But in the event he is, Ms. Burgess is aware of that date and can coordinate accordingly. But if we have to reschedule, if we have to re-refer to have it in the community, it may take longer than the 19th.
So if he's not incarcerated on the 19th, can the DNA testing still be done on the 19th?
I don't know. So I believe they are set up for specific dates at the department when they do the referrals. So if you're asking to send a second referral as like a backup, we can look into that.
That sounds like a good idea to me. What are your thoughts, Ms. Berger?
I would be agreeable to that, Your Honor. That way we aren't, coming back again and we still don't have it done. Especially now we know where he is now. So hopefully we can get it done, while he's there.
I have one question, Your Honor. The worker.
She's not sworn yet.
Oh. I mean, my thought is if he's not in jail, if he's out of jail, we know where he's at. Why can't the worker just go there?
Well, that's what she suggested, is that they'll make another referral as a backup plan.
Oh, I thought she said another date. I wasn't sure.
It might be because the workers are not the ones who perform the DNA testing.
Right, but he's gonna be down here, so it's in Adrian. Okay,
All right, Ms. Heiss, do you find it to be in the best interest of the child if I were to adjourn out Mr. Coleman's hearing to allow for that DNA testing?
Yes, Your Honor, the child's needs are being met in his current placement, and I think it's important that we find the biological connection between father and son.
Very great. All right, our next court hearing in this matter will be the mother's first regular review. And I was looking to schedule that for 3 months out. It is the first week of October. Let me go back just a week so that we can make sure we have enough time for everything. How about Monday, September 23rd or Friday, the 27th? Any preferences?
The 23rd is fine.
that's fine.
All right,
I'm
so let's
sorry.
schedule for
What time?
September 23rd. I'm pretty open, Ms. Berger. Do you have a preference?
It would have to be after 10 a.m.
I was gonna suggest 10. Would that work, or do you need 11?
11, preferably, please.
All right. So we'll set Mr. Coleman's pretrial for September 23rd at 11 a.m.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Coleman, we'll see you then. And hopefully by then we'll know what's happening with your case in our courtroom as it relates to the child. Any
Yes,
questions?
ma'am. No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. That's all we need from you today. Good luck, and we'll see you in a couple months.
Okay.
All right, it looks like we did have the, here we are. Mom has joined us, perhaps. May we have your name for the record, please? Okay, may we have your name, please?
My name is Noelle Johnson.
Noelle Johnson?
Yep.
Thank you. It's a little hard to hear, so we'll have to ask you to slow down when it's your turn to speak there.
Okay.
All right, we're going to be proceeding at this point with the initial disposition as it relates to Ms. Noelle Johnson. Ms. Heiss, would you like to start us off?
Yes, thank you. This family has a lot of strengths. One is that the child is placed with his maternal uncle and his partner, and they have organized everything needed for the child. They're meeting all of his needs. He is gaining weight, and the day that I zoomed in, they're in Grand Rapids. So the day that I zoomed in, the foster mother relative was home with the child all day, and they were having he is has developmentally appropriate toys and activities and foods, and he's sleeping well, and it's really nice that this family has that resource so that he's taken care of in the meantime. And I recommend that. I have received and reviewed the report, and the case service plan looks appropriate towards the goal of reunification. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. If Ms. Johnson can please be sworn in.
Come on up to our witness stand.
Oh, Ms. Johnson first.
Ms. Johnson. Oh, sorry. I'm still in the swing of things
Sorry.
here. All right, so that's Ms. Johnson is appearing to us from the jail.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Good afternoon, Ms. Johnson. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Just briefly, I have a few questions, okay?
Okay.
Do you know when you're going to be released from jail?
Yes, I get released tomorrow morning. It should be by 6 a.m.
And where are you being released to the community or to any like inpatient rehabilitation center or anything like that?
As far as I know I need to report to probation first thing in the morning. But other than that, I think I'm just being released. Yeah, I haven't came upon any other guidelines yet.
I could not hear anything after report for probation in the morning. If you could slow down just a little for us, please.
Okay. After probation, I think I'm just being released. I haven't been told anything further.
Okay, and do you have Ms. Burgess's contact information?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and did you have the opportunity to review the report that she wrote and the case service plan that is developed
Yes.
for you?
Yes, I have. I have it right here and I've read over it a few times. I agree with everything in it.
Okay, so there's nothing that needs to be fixed or changed from your perspective?
Nope, as long as the visitation, is all right, or it was, I think it was 2 times weekly, 3 times weekly. That's all I really
Okay.
worried about.
If you could slow, it's running together for us on this end.
Okay.
Just nice and slow, please.
I just want to make sure that I get the visitation. The visitation is the same as when we, had all talked last, when was it? Maybe a week or two ago before I had been incarcerated. I think it was about 3 times weekly. 2 to 3 times weekly, I'm pretty sure is what it was. Date times at night between 6 and 8 o'clock.
Okay,
But everything else
Okay.
is all right.
okay, thank you for that. And you understand that the goal is for your child to be reunified with you or a legal father who may be appropriate?
Yes, yep.
Okay, and it's my understanding that Mr. Coleman may not be this child's biological father?
That is a possibility, yes.
Have you been able to discuss with Ms. Burgess or with Ms. Grant other names of potential biological fathers so that they could also be offered DNA testing?
We have not talked about names, but like I said, I get out tomorrow morning. And me and Ms. Burgess made a plan. I was gonna call her first thing when I got out, and we were gonna go figure out where we're gonna go from there, whether it be rehab, and I was gonna lay out those names for her.
Okay, so you do intend to assist in that way?
Yes, of course.
And the case service plan, it looks like it addresses some basic needs, so substance abuse treatment, mental health treatment, housing, transportation, employment, those sorts of things. Is there anything else that you believe needs to be added to assist you in being stable enough to care for your child?
The only thing that my concern really is housing. Cause like I said, I'm not trying to go, not that I'm not trying, I am not going back to who I was associating with before. So that means I'm going to be at a shelter until then. But you guys have covered pretty much everything, and I really appreciate it.
Okay, with that, Your Honor, I have nothing further to ask of Ms. Johnson. Thank you.
Mr. McFarland?
Are you going to, I don't want you to put on the record where you're going to be, but are you going to be in Lenawee County?
Yes, I should be, unless there's options for me up in Grand Rapids. But yes, it should be, I'll be around Lenawee County.
Okay. When we're off the record, will you have an address that you'll want things mailed to in addition to email?
Yes, yep,
We'll-
I can leave
We'll,
you guys
we'll
that.
wait, and we'll wait till we're off the record here.
Okay,
Anything else that you think you need to add?
no, like I said, I just want my visitation 3 times a week. I just want to start being able to see my son. Now that I took care of all my legal issues, I just want to be able to see my son. I'll do everything on my part.
Transportation, will that also be an issue for you?
A little bit, but I think between the person who's going to be supervising these visits.
Hey, hang on, talk slower, we cannot understand, okay? So I said, is transportation going to be an issue?
Yes, a little bit, but we have talked with the person who's going to be supervising all of these visits in Grand Rapids or Lansing, and she said that I'm able to ride with her some of the times. But I will make it up there one way or another. I will make it up there to every visit.
If the agency can assist you, if you want any assistance, they can provide.
Yes, please.
As far as housing, they will probably provide you list of places you can contact. Is there anything else you need more than that?
No, just housing and transportation to my baby.
And you think you're gonna be okay with Well, are you going to go to rehab, you say, perhaps?
If that's what Ms. Burgess wants me to do, I will go. But I think, I mean, my probation officer, I don't think that's a requirement. But if Ms. Burgess thinks that that is gonna help or in any type of way, get my kid back and get to where I come home to my kid every night, I will do it. I will do whatever I need to do.
If you're not in rehab, will you need help getting a job?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm sure I'm gonna ask the worker this, but she's probably gonna want you to meet with her as soon as you get out of jail. Would you
Yep.
be able to do that?
Oh, yeah, yep, tomorrow morning. I already have to be down by the courthouse. And I already planned on getting a hold of her as soon as I got out tomorrow morning. So,
Yeah, I'll ask her some questions today to coordinate that. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Any questions, Ms. Heiss?
Just briefly, since you don't have any housing or employment in Lenawee, what would be your barrier to being in a shelter in Grand Rapids near to the child?
You said what would be the barriers?
Yes.
Honestly, I don't know. It was just an option that I had thought about recently. I'm like, if I'm already going to be in a shelter down here, why not be up there to one closer? I mean, I have no ties to Adrian anymore. No, so it could be an option. I don't know what options are up there.
Do you need transportation to get to Grand Rapids to discover those resources?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for your testimony, Ms. Thomas, unless you have any other questions for her.
I have none, Your Honor, thank you.
Your next witness?
Ms. Burgess, please.
All right, Ms. Burgess is not for a witness.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Good afternoon, Ms. Burgess. You are the foster care worker for this family, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And can you just briefly summarize this is if there would be a substantial risk of harm if the child were to be returned to the mother today?
Yes, there would be.
And can you just briefly summarize what that is?
Ms. Johnson doesn't have housing or employment stability. And she's also has some substance abuse issues.
I don't know that this is included in your court report, but when Ms. Johnson was incarcerated, did her probation officer do a substance test on her?
Yes.
And do you recall what substances she came back positive with?
Cocaine, methamphetamine, amphetamine, and THC.
Was she positive for MDMA or alcohol?
I'm sorry, yes, those also.
And were you able to discuss the case service plan with her?
Yes,
And the current goal for the child is reunification, is that correct?
correct.
Okay. And as relates to the case service plan, have any of those services begun on a voluntary basis?
No,
And the child is with a relative, as Ms. Heiss indicated, is that correct?
correct.
And do you believe that it's still the least restrictive environment to ensure the child's safety?
Yes.
And I know that mom has indicated she would like parenting time 3 times a week, but what was actually discussed for parenting time moving forward?
We had a family team meeting on the 21st, and we've arranged twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, 10:30 to 12:30. I have referred her for visitation coach and parent aid with Linda Edwards. And Ms. Edwards can transport Noelle to Lansing and supervise the visit on Wednesdays. And then on Mondays, I have a driver that can be paid to also take her to Lansing for the visit. We also arranged telephone or video calls between 6 and 8 in the evening. because that's when the relative caregivers are home from work. And then once a month, the relatives agree to bring the child to a maternal grandparent's home on the weekend, where Noelle could visit at that home on the weekend.
Who would be supervising on that Monday visit if Miss Edwards is not
Either the relative and or the volunteer driver.
there? Okay, either would be appropriate?
Either would be appropriate.
Okay. And if Miss Edwards or the volunteer driver are not available, but Miss Johnson's able to find someone, would gas cards be provided to that individual? Or
Yes.
to her to do that? Okay. And is there a need for confirming parenting time? I mean, this is kind of a long distance to travel for the child and for anyone else, correct?
Yes, we discussed that she would need to contact me by 8:30 in the morning to confirm that she would be visiting that day.
And if Miss Johnson is able to find, or if you're able to assist her in finding a shelter in the Grand Rapids area, parenting time's gonna look a little different. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
Okay. And you're aware of that and able to coordinate with her and the family?
Yes, we have a courtesy worker involved through Ottawa County, and I would think that she could assist us with those types of things.
And just briefly, if you can give us a brief summary of the child's well-being currently?
He is doing well. He was hospitalized in June, mid-June. He had some breathing issues and was treated for, I believe it was some bronchitis, and I'm not sure if it was diagnosed, he was diagnosed pneumonia, but treated for that. But he is doing well now, gaining weight, and the caregivers are providing me with his medical appointments and also letting Noelle know, and I am letting Noelle know as well.
Great, thank you for that. I have no further questions for Ms. Burgess, Your Honor. I would move to admit the court report and ask the court to accept the case service plan for Ms. Johnson.
No objection.
No objection.
Okay,
I
thank you.
just have a question.
I will call you.
Okay,
I will
sorry.
call you. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, actually, usually we would break out, Your Honor, if she were next to me or that. Can I just ask her to ask me what question, and now we'll save time? What is it that you want me to ask of her?
So
And then I,
now since my work was taken care of, and remember how everything was suspended, like my in-person, like I couldn't go to doctor's appointments, I couldn't
well,
go to
what's the question? I'll ask her the specific
am I able to
question.
go to that now on my own? Like if I'm made aware of the doctor's appointment, can I take?
You gotta
that?
slow down. You have to slow down.
You'd like to be able to attend doctor's appointments and all appointments with the child, correct?
Yes, correct.
I'll ask some questions along those lines. Thank you. Am I on?
It's your turn. Yes.
If my client were here locally, she would be able to attend all doctor's appointments and other appointments, correct?
Correct.
If she goes to Grand Rapids, would that accommodation be the same, that she could visit or attend these appointments?
Yes.
If she remains here, is there a possibility that she can attend via the internet?
Yes, and I think she has
Okay,
prior to her being incarcerated.
okay. Typically here, you realize that a parent has at least 3 visits, 2 hours a week if they're local, correct? Typically.
We are at least twice a week is what our
With this
policy
court,
is.
you're aware it's typically 3 times per week, 2 hours per visit, correct?
Okay,
Is that yes?
yes,
Okay, if my client were to move to the Grand Rapids area where the minor child is, would you support her having the same time that she would have here?
yes,
Okay. If she wishes to go to Grand Rapids, since she has no contacts in Michigan, provided that no other courts keep her here, would you arrange for her to go up there and help her explore what's available?
I can facilitate her, and assist her with doing that, yes.
I mean, that would be cheaper than you paying somebody to do the transportation up to Lansing to get her maybe one time to Grand Rapids, right?
Oh, yes, for sure. We would provide transportation to Grand Rapids, yes.
Okay. And if she does decide to stay here, you would assist with the housing, the transportation, and the other issues that she describes that she needs, right?
Right.
Would it be true to say the first thing she should do when she's out of jail is to schedule an appointment with you, correct?
Correct.
Do you think maybe a family team meeting to discuss where she's gonna go from here, since she's now expressed that maybe getting closer to the minor child to break down a lot of barriers? Do you think that'd be helpful?
I mean, we can schedule a family team meeting, sure.
Or is it faster for her just to come in and talk to you about these barriers?
I think we need to start out with talking about her barriers.
I would agree. Okay. And she has your contact information, correct?
Correct.
So if she gets out tomorrow, she'll contact you and schedule an appointment.
Correct.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Heiss?
Thank you. Ms. Burgess. Is it your best recommendation that mom sets up her job and housing and resources in Lenawee or Grand Rapids? Which do you think is the better choice for reunification?
You know, I had not thought about her relocating to Grand Rapids, so I'm not sure. I know the resources here in Lenawee. Her mom is here in Lenawee. In Grand Rapids, like I said, we have a courtesy worker that, you know, I can contact and work with her on resources.
If she's at a
I guess
shelter in Grand Rapids, might have all those resources to help her also, right?
Yes,
I really appreciate that you have this schedule about Miss Edwards is going to do Wednesday, taking mother to Lansing, and the placement's going to come over. And then one more time a week you have it set up. And then maybe once a month, the child will go to maternal grandmother's and mother can go there. The minute we need to expand that visit, you must admit there's challenges.
are you asking me if there's
Yeah.
challenges with,
Well,
yes,
If mom is 15 minutes late, then somebody is waiting in Lansing, not in their home. If mom no calls, no shows, are the other folks already on the road? We've been through this before. It seems hard to reunify a family with this distance, but it's possible is what you're saying.
yes. And that's why she would need to contact me early enough so that the relatives would not start traveling to Lansing.
Okay. Will you is Miss Edwards able to do a drug screen? Perform a
Yes.
drug screen? And
Yes.
will this mom be doing drug screens on her probation?
Yes, she is already on colors.
And was she doing the screens before she went to incarceration?
She was not.
So is it a condition of her visit that she does the drug screens?
Yes, she should be cooperating with her drug screens. And
Because
go ahead.
the screen that Linda Edwards gives doesn't come back for the results don't come back for 2 weeks. Is that right?
Right.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Okay. Ms. Berger, I see you're still here with us. Did you want to ask any questions?
No, Your Honor, I just wanted to make sure I got good notes from my client so he could be fully updated.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Ms. Burgess, just briefly, I know that Ms. Heiss sort of alluded to the screens from Ms. Edwards, but if mom is local, would it make more sense for her to, is it possible, I don't even know, to go to LDC before showing up for parenting time?
Yes, I'm not sure how early. I would have to look at their hours.
Okay, and that's part of the concern, but that might make more sense like, than waiting 2 weeks or however long to get screens.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Any referrals?
I do. As you know, I mean, with summer driving, accidents, construction, somebody could easily run 15 minutes late. If they're running behind and they place a call due to traffic or an accident that they're going to be more than 15 hours late, is she gonna lose all of her visit?
No,
Okay, so she should reach out if there is some delay in the trip, correct?
yes, and I mean, Miss Edwards or the volunteer would be driving her, and so we would know that she would be getting there.
As far as resources, one would think that Grand Rapids, much bigger, wealthier than us, would have probably more resources than Lenawee County does, correct?
That's true.
And if the minor child is there, if the placement is there, if my client moves there, and we don't have any biological fathers, only putative fathers, might make sense to transfer the whole case to Grand Rapids, right?
Right.
Nothing further.
Any questions, Ms. Heiss?
No, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We return to your seats. Anyone else you'd like us to hear from, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
My client's raising her hand, Your Honor. So yes,
Yes, Ms. Warren?
has she been sworn? She has, right?
Yes.
You have another concern. What's your other concern?
Okay, I just wanted to reassure you, so with colors, I'll be dropping 2 to 3 times a
Hey,
week.
hang on. Slow down,
Okay.
okay? Go ahead.
So with colors, I will be dropping 2 to 3 times a week and results are back immediately. So I can make sure tomorrow morning when I go see my probation officer that she said maybe that those results get sent to you guys automatically and that maybe we can get them to coincide with my Monday and Wednesday visits, if that would help you guys.
And you would also sign up, you would also sign a release so the worker could get those results?
Yes, I would.
Go ahead. Anything else?
Yeah, and then second, that's all. I can't remember.
Okay. What are your thoughts now that you've heard everything about exploring Grand Rapids versus staying in Lenawee County?
I would love to explore. Honestly, there's nothing really good for me and Adrian but past baggage and things that have brought me down. I would really like to see what, and I wouldn't mind moving. It would be really cool, actually.
So will you have that chat with the probation officer to see if you can go to Grand Rapids to explore that, because that might be a barrier. Would you do that?
Okay. Yes, I will.
And
I
then-
will talk to her in the morning.
And then arrange an appointment with Ms. Burgess and discuss all that with her, right?
Yes, I will. Correct.
Thank you.
And
Nothing
then
further?
lastly, I do
Hang on.
remember
Sure.
so will I get my visit this Wednesday to see my baby? Like, when does all this start?
Well, I can call Ms. Burgess and ask her when this would start, okay?
Okay, thank you.
It can't, practically speaking, it has to start once you're released from jail. And what you need to do is call Miss Burgess when you're released.
Okay, I'll
I
just
can
call her
answer.
first thing in the morning.
Good enough. Thank you. She's heard your questions, so she'll be expecting your call.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Nothing further, no further witnesses.
Comments in closing?
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, we're just asking the court to adopt the case service plan as proposed. I believe that Ms. Burgess has a very good handle on parenting time, the logistics of it, and has heard the questions in Mom's testimony about the Grand Rapids, Ottawa County area. It seems that perhaps some coordination with that courtesy worker would be helpful at this time. But with that, we are just asking for that 90-day review. And if we need to transfer venue between now and then, you know how to get that from you. Thank you.
I appreciate that Mom is not being passive, that she's being active in this case, asking questions, seeking direction, wanting to have visits, knowing that Lenawee County is a temptation for her. She is out to get a fresh start. She knows the direction to take is first talking to the probation officer, next speaking to Ms. Burgess, exploring those options. So, and if she has concerns, to call myself or Ms. Burgess at any time. Thank you.
Right. Ms. Heiss?
Your Honor, there are two older children who are in care with their other grandparent. So I'm asking the court to consider that the stability for this child is at the placement at this time. And if when mother gets into some recovery, I think she'll understand that this isn't a quick change to reunification, and that the burden of the distance is going to reduce her ability to really make a bond with the child. So for my part, I want to say that I think the best benefit for the child is reunification with the mother, who does her services and who visits and builds a bond. And for her to do that from here with no transportation and no employment, no funding, it's almost impossible. We have a lot of experience doing this. You have a whole bunch of human beings, including a baby, on the road 2 and 3 times a week, I'm sorry. And there's a lot of variables and a lot of room for error, so that because mom indicates that she doesn't have connections, I really encourage the mother to make the services in Grand Rapids part of her plan, so that she can get reunification and also build the bond at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. The court finds all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's hearing. The child is in the safest and least restrictive placement. Given the circumstances, both parents remain incarcerated. Mr. Coleman awaits DNA testing to establish his rights as a legal parent to this child. Inquiries have been made for relative placements, and this child is with a relative and seems to be stabilizing. Lots of needs have been identified and continue to be identified for this child as a result of in utero drug exposure. We have developmental delays anticipated, pyelochromotomy, which I have not heard of until today, exophoria of the left eye, and neurodevelopmental risk with a developmental consultation pending. And early on, referral has already been made for this child. So I wanted to bring that up because I want to just remind everyone, including Ms. Johnson, that the child is what is at the center of these proceedings. So yes, we need to build a bond with the child, but I think that what I would advise you today, Ms. Johnson, is that I hope you were listening carefully to Ms. Heiss's comments and recommendations, and that you look at this situation and decide which path is going to serve you best in order to reach your goal of reunification. But I'm going to need you to keep in mind that your child is at the center of this. So if transportation is too much for this child, given the challenges that are here, then it will be reduced. And we will expect you to take on your challenges, as you should, as the parent here, and work the services and do the best you can. And of course, the department will be there to supplement and meet its obligations as it has here today with reasonable efforts so far. The court is adopting the case services plan that's been proposed, that you've been able to review, which is good. You have a look at it. You know what needs to happen. I'll trust the department to implement visitation in light of the distance, as well as the needs of this child. And we'll continue to work towards reunification in the next report period. Thank you to Ms. Heiss for her efforts in addition to our department efforts.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll have our next review in conjunction with the pretrial hearing, which is September 23rd at 11 a.m. So if you're able to join us by Zoom, that's fine. If you're able to join us in person, that's fine as well. But we'll see you back here September 23rd at 11 a.m. for the next review. In the meantime, we'll trust you to work on those case services and to do the best you can in making those efforts. And
Okay,
make
thank
sure the
you.
department's doing this as well.